Hikaru, are you happy with today's result, the draw, especially with the black pieces?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a strange game. First of all, I surprised Jan in the opening. He was way down on the clock very early. But the thing that was confusing about it is there was this one moment, I think, when I spent forever to play, what did I play? To play was it Rook D8? I think it was when I played Rook D8, spent like 25 minutes, and Jan basically played, after I played Rook D8, what did he play? He played Bishop B3 instantly, I played C5, and then he played this move Knight F3, which was actually not on my radar at all. Like, this was not what I was considering. So I felt kind of stupid to waste those 20 to 25 minutes on that specific move, because if I have those extra 20 minutes back, I think there's a decent chance that I try to plan at the end of the game with Queen H6 instead of Queen H5. So maybe I'm a little bit annoyed about that, but again, obviously you don't know what your opponent's going to play, so when you spend time and you're trying to calculate the best lines and you see some other move very quickly, which isn't what you expected, it can be a little bit jarring. So I'm perhaps a little bit unhappy from that standpoint, but sort of as I told myself when I was repeating the moves towards the end of the game, if before the game he told me I was going to draw the game and control my destiny tomorrow, I would have been happy with that. So ultimately, I mean, that factored a lot into my decision, as I just felt that I have the white pieces tomorrow, I can go for it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I would have been happy with that result from the start. So I'm going to be happy with that result from the start. Then why do I suddenly want to gamble everything when also the position where it was, I felt that it was a little bit easier for Jan to play. Like there were a couple lines where I saw that I could win the pawn on D5, but he's his knight on E5, and it didn't feel right.
This Queen D4 line, and he plays Knight E5. You did not like that?
Queen D4, Knight E5?
Like Knight D3, Queen D4. Knight, I guess he would go Knight E5.
Yeah, I mean, I could have played this, but also I thought Knight D3. Like this was the other thing. I think I spent a bit of time on F5 because I expected Knight C5, Knight E6, and then he played this Knight D3 move, which I thought was just ridiculous. I didn't understand it at all because like after Bishop B7 and Queen G5, I mean, I don't think White can be better there. I think if anything, White's taking big risk and can lose the game. So I was very confused by that. But still, like I thought that most of what I did made sense. I mean, this line with I think Jan was probably wrong in his assessment actually with this what he said in the press conference with this Queen F3 and Knight E6, Rook E6, Rook AE1. I don't actually think White is much better there. I think Black is probably completely fine. But still, I mean, I think there were a couple of critical moments. One was when he played Knight D3. The other one was probably when I played C5, also a very critical moment. Because even there when I went C5, I saw a couple ways to make a draw, but I wanted to keep the game going. So that's also why I was annoyed when I spent the time and then he played this Knight F3 very quickly. But, a draw is a draw, and as I said, I would have been happy before the game of the draw, so, why should I be unhappy now?
And your opponent tomorrow is Gukesh, who is still playing, and anything can happen to his game. He could win, he could lose, he could draw. But overall, what has been your impression of Gukesh in this tournament? He's just 17 and he's in the lead. Are you impressed by his play?
Well, I mean, I've been impressed by all of them, frankly. I mean, all the juniors. You look at you look at Arjun, who's not here, for example. You look at Prag. You look at Gukesh. I mean, Nihal maybe a little bit less so. Not to like speak negatively about him. But there's so many talented juniors in India, and I am not surprised that you have at least one of them who's competing for first place here. About Gukesh specifically, I think that he was rising a lot up until I would say Norway chess last year, and then he had a couple of bad tournaments in the Opens. But all the juniors have a lot of potential, and I'm not super surprised by his result. I think he's done a very, very good job of playing controlled chess. I think a lot of the credit probably has to go to Gaio and whoever else is on his team, because I think they've done a very good job of like him not getting into a lot of these wild and messy situations. Because at 17 years old, when you're playing the candidates, I mean, nerves are going to play a huge role. So I think they've done a fantastic job, and he's of course also played great games. So the future is very bright for India.
And in 2010 there was a World Championship match where in the last game Topalov, fearing the tie breaks, went all out and lost to Vichy. Do you think this is going to play a role tomorrow, especially everyone considering you being such a strong rapid player?
Well, let's just say, I mean, I don't think my rapid's been as good as my classical or my blitz. But if there's one player in this tournament who I'd be afraid of playing in rapid, they're not actually going to be playing a tiebreaker, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Which is Prag, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I look at the players, I mean, of course, Nepo's very strong, but I would say that Prag, his performance in the World Cup and the tiebreakers, I know like he lost to Magnus at the end of the day, but he did beat me, he did beat Fabiano, and I was very, very impressed by his play. So I'm not really worried about tiebreakers. I think if you get there, and just see what happens. But I think both the end of today and tomorrow are going to be extremely exciting.
And when I was listening to both of your interviews right now, there was this topic of entrepreneurship where you spoke about managing a team And then when you spoke here, you spoke about how to make the VIPs feel comfortable. It's like you're playing chess, but you're also having so many other things in your mind into. I guess that's...
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's very important to try and grow the game. You know, I think I said this before. You know, I hear a lot of the top players complaining about this, that, or the other thing. FIDE does this wrong, that thing wrong, everything wrong. You know, I think I said this quote the other day too, but there's a quote I believe from Maya Angelou, which is like, be the change in the world that you want to see. And I do feel like for myself, I'm trying very hard sort of to keep the interest alive. I mean, when you know, I'm somebody who spends a lot of time looking, you know, at history, whether it's a stock market, whether it's like, you know, European history or ancient Roman history. You know, when you look at history and you look at the trajectory of chess specifically, there have been booms. I've been fortunate to have seen some of them. You know, I always look back to 1995 when there was that great match between Kasparov and Anand at the World Trade Center. I was fortunate enough to go to game number 10 when Kasparov won with that knight g5 sack. But you know, the booms have always kind of faded away into memory, and so I'm trying to do my part, and hopefully this time will be different. Although historically, that isn't the case with anything.
And lastly, I want to ask you, before this round, we organized a small meetup here, and so many people came. Does this ever cross your mind to do a fan meetup IRL, like in real life, meet people,
yeah,
and they come
I mean,
and meet you?
I definitely have considered it. I would say in general, perhaps the one difference is that I'm someone who's very driven. I haven't really taken my foot off the gas pretty much from the get-go to now. I still stream just about as much as I did before, maybe a touch less, but not a whole lot less. And I feel like, you know, I'm really trying hard to go as long as I can. And then, you know, after that, there'll be plenty of time to relax and do all these different things. You know, like in a candidates in 2 years or 4 years or whenever down the road. So, like, I'm not doing that stuff right now specifically because I'm still fairly driven. I have some specific goals in mind. But down the road, I'll definitely do some of that.
And thank you, Hikaru, for your time, and good luck for tomorrow.
Sure. Thank you.
Don't crowd, please. Don't crowd. Yeah, 1 second.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sure, yeah, 1 second. Thank you so much. Okay, thank Sure, yeah.
Can I take a photo?
Yeah, sure.
Hikaru, how you doing?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hikaru.
Best of luck tomorrow. Thank you. Guys, who's gonna? Sure. Yeah. Sorry. Big fan. Hikaru, can I have on the bond cloud? On the bond cloud? Yeah. Because why not? Oh, one more. Photo? Thank you. Excel bill. Hikaru, can we have a selfie, please?
Guys, don't push, please. Don't push.
Hikaru, one selfie, please. Thank you.
Can I get your autograph on AC?
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Come here.
What is this?
I apologize. Sorry, Sunil. Yeah. You do need to get Hikaru in here. Hold on, he's coming. He's coming. Family photo. Family photo. Let's get the family photo. That's good. I know these guys from somewhere.
Somewhere long time.